Hey everybody, 1223 here with another video. Well, actually this is the video that came after my first one I made with the high-low. But this one deals with the Rayo doubleheader that I was telling you about. This one is the first of the two I'm going to talk about. This is a Rayo number 39 railroad style lamp. It's a really neat looking lamp. Got it just the previous weekend, and I'm going to go over the details of this thing and open it up. But I'll just go over the outside first. Right here on the top you got the words Rayo and number 39. I don't know what the WB stands for. Otherwise, for the appearance, there's nothing on the other side, nothing, no markings, nothing important. On the bottom though, we have some patent dates, which are upside down. Hang on here, just give me a second. Here we go. You can kind of see them. The rest of them aren't really legible, but you can kind of see what they are. The last one was 1915, so pretty old lamp. Usually, if the last patent date was that year. I'm going to take this thing apart, and it actually comes apart in a pretty unique way. So, first you can also see too, it does have sort of a lean. It is kind of lopsided. The base isn't, but the lamp is. See, it does have a very big handle. What I find interesting though too, is that I'll actually show you just by zoom here, that if you look, both sides, the holes that hold the handle are twisted, which I find pretty interesting. I don't know why they exactly are like that, unless it's just a styling or what, but this lamp opens up somewhat hard. Oh well, it didn't open up that hard that time. Must have had last shot good. I'll go over the globe. Now, the globe is designed to where you have to kind of force it out. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's just how it's designed. Marked Rayo number 39, made in the USA. And then it has the mold identification on it, which is CV up here. Now I'm going to show you how the fount comes out. And actually, the first part of how this thing comes out is pretty cool. You see down here at the bottom, you got these little sort of ears, or little tabs. It's like that on both sides. One right there. But when you take and twist this lamp, if I can remember which way to turn it, there we go. And then pull down when those tabs are lined up with the two holes in the side. It comes out of here, and you got this little cup. Now this fount used to be pretty hard to take out until my dad cleaned up with some steel wool. You can see too that the threads on it are brass. The original Rayo burner in it was trash. It was in two pieces. So we have found though that a Deets convex burner will work in there just fine, and we're gonna get one in the next batch of parts that we order. But if you take and dislodge this fount, just like that, there it goes. There, because in the bottom here, this little ledge right here makes it say it locks down in, and then you can see here that the fount comes out, and it's still pretty clean on the inside, not too bad. But now Rayo lamps, I don't know really much about the whole company's history, but from what I do know, Rayo lamps are highly collectible, and some are somewhat desirable. These lamps are not a lot of them are found in good shape, and if any of them are found in good shape, they're usually worth going after. Finding parts for rails are not easy at all either. There. But you just kind of have to try. You just kind of have to try out different sizes, so to speak, when it comes to finding parts for these. Now this lamp latches down really hard. It's like the globe is like just off in its dimensions. Push down really hard, or else the lid will pop up on its own. But the number 39 Rayo is somewhat desirable. It's the only railroad lamp I've seen that was made by Rayo. What I've seen too is that Rayo did not really make any big time lanterns. I don't think they really got well into the lantern business. But the last time I saw one of these, actually one on there marked for the American Express Railway, which I find kind of weird, because I've never heard of such a thing. It sounds more like the credit card company. But the last one I saw before this one was one marked for the Rutland Railroad, which was a railroad in Vermont, and it sold for over $200, which is pretty good. I mean, Rutland stuff is pretty desirable. So that means and I think the globe was marked too. So if it wasn't marked, that lamp would have been probably worth what we got ours for. So, but now I'm going to get to this next lamp. This is the next lamp I'm going to show you. Is a lamp I've been telling you about for 2 weeks in my past lantern videos. It is a brass one that, even though it started to tarnish, still looks really good. And we got a globe, and we got the globe for it just yesterday. So, well, yeah, because I made the video after I made the high-low video. I was intending on making it today, but my dad kind of interrupted it because he came home. I like doing my videos alone. But I have it right here in my hand right now. I'm going to show it to you, but it is also a Rayo, and it has a lot of neat stuff about it that you're going to like. But first, I'm just going to show you. But first, I'm just going to show you this side because it doesn't have the model make on it. Here it is. This is a brass Rayo. This is a brass Rayo lantern. The last patent date on this lantern is 1906, and this whole thing is all brass. There's nothing that is not brass about it except for the globe. I did clean it up. This thing was tarnished extremely bad. It was almost black when I got it. And when I cleaned it up for the longest of time, for about a week and a half, the thing was so shiny you almost couldn't even tell it's brass. It looked more like gold paint. But as from this angle, you could tell it has a red globe. But it's not. But there's more to it. And I'll get to this rail. I'll get more into this rail because it's when I'm just going to turn it slowly here and I watch the globe. That is a bicolored globe, two color globe. From the clear side, it looks as though the globe has soot in it, and I find that pretty funny. But it also, if you could tell down here at the bottom, has a bullseye in the glass, and I'll get into those. And I'll get into those and what they're used for. But now I'm going to get into this. What this is. This is a Rayo number 15 Pony. Pretty cheesy name, but what can you do? The last patent date on this lantern was January 9th, 1906, and the other one, and the first one is June 13th, 1905. So I don't know if that was where the time frame is made, or if those are just the last two patent dates. But whatever the case, this is my first brass lantern. I hope to obtain more. Just to compare this lantern's size, this lantern is equivalent to a Dietz Jr. But now I'm going to get into this thing, and I'm sure you're really wondering about it. This This lantern is completely all brass, marked Rayo over here in the signature script style lettering. That is kind of a trademark to the company. Pony number 15. See, you can also notice too, the patent dates are put in a pretty unusual place. They're put here on the burner chamber, which is how some lanterns were marked. And I think Ham did this also. I think the company Ham did this also. But you can look though. You can see there are some stress cracks. There are some stress bends or cracks. Not really cracked, but I mean there are some stress points in this lantern from its age. It's over that all over the place, even up here on the dome. But the whole now marked on the top. This lantern, you could tell the age too. And just because the handle, it's got what they call a bracelet style. It's what they call a bracelet style handle. It's not like when you look at the Rayo and it looks like just a regular handle. It's got that looped look to it. And a lot of the older lanterns have that. Have that style handle. It's also marked on the globe, Rayo Pony. Pony CB, I don't know what that stands for. I mean, that's the mold, whatever. Bullseye, made in the USA. I'm going to take this lantern apart, and when I do, when it comes to the globe, I'm going to get right to the globe, because the globe is really neat. There are just regular versions, but this one I think was meant for more in a dash lamp, or this either can make a lantern or this can either turn a lantern into a dash lamp. But I'm going to open this thing up, slide it up, tip it. This globe is actually not as big as it seems. I mean, I can hold it with my hand, but it's when you look from this side here, you can see right where the red and the clear start. It's in the glass, so I think the glass was baked with the color in. Now, you can clearly see this is a magnifying bullseye as my fingers get a lot bigger. What this bullseye was used for is it was used for the same principle as the Buckeye Dash, as something called like the Buckeye Dash lamp. It was used to magnify the light and make it focus in on something. Now, the reason why these globes are so highly desirable and rare is because, for one, putting in the bullseye in the glass meant that the glass was usually harder to make, and it took more time and took more labor time to manufacture, thus making the cost of the lantern go up. When the Buckeye Dash came out, they just had to make a separate little glass piece and put it in that thing, and it reduced the cost of the lantern very much. So a lot of lanterns that were only made with, so a lot of these globes got phased out extremely quick. And not too many of them survive in any size lamp. I've only seen a couple tall ones, much less one like this. So they're not common to find at all. Well, why am I putting it back in here? I gotta get into this thing. And like I said too, everything is brass, even down to the holder. I'm also gonna get to the lift on this thing. This thing has a pretty unique lift. It's different from my other lamps because it's a left-handed lift. Not too many lamps were made with a left-handed lift. The only one I can think of is the reproduction Dietz Original, which was introduced in 1976 to commemorate the bicentennial of the United States. But the left-handed lifts were not common, and from what I can see, they were not popular for reasons I really cannot explain. So they're not really common at all. What am I doing setting this thing over here? When I tip this back, you can see this is all brass cone. The cone just sits on there. I mean, it's not even lap. There's no hinge. It just comes right off. Stay up. But yep, this thing, you can still see how shiny some of the brass still is underneath. I mean, it was that shiny. So, pretty amazing stuff, though. This lantern looked like new for the longest time. The burner just slips right in there. This burner is also all brass. Has a new wick in it, as you can see. This is an all brass burner. It's not marked on the knob. When I did clean this thing, though, however, the ash grate, however, was pretty badly. And when I started cleaning it, some of the grate did corrode, as you can see, a piece about ready to flake off right there. But otherwise, most of it's still pretty there. But it looks like it honestly is just about ready to come out. I mean, I'm gonna try and keep it in there, but what'll it do? But you can tell it's an old one because it's got the stars in the burner, and that definitely defines age. So when we look down in the tank too, you can see that. Ooh, geez. Well, I guess I can't do it from that angle. I'll just have to open it the old-fashioned way. Put the fuel cap in it. So I'll put this lamp back together, but at the same time I'll be talking. Now to clean this thing, we originally tried using some Never Dull, but it wasn't strong enough. I mean, it was cleaning the tarnish off, but it just was not getting through all the tarnish like we wanted it to. And if we kept using the Never Dull, it would take us several days, maybe even weeks, and who knows how many things of Never Dull to clean it. But what we did instead was we looked on a handy tool called the internet and found our solution. I first started using some 3/0, because I switched to a more abrasive one to help get it done faster. 3/0 steel wool, which is working pretty good, and use that instead for this lantern, and it started to, but then it wasn't really doing it enough. So then we mixed it. I started using a towel with a vinegar and salt mixture. The salt used to brazen this, the vinegar, of course, will go right through that stuff. Except vinegar will clean about any kind of brass. It just depends that you don't want the brass to disintegrate if it's too old of brass. But when I did, it was coming off, and I thought, why not dip the steel wool in there, and the stuff just started coming right off, and I cleaned that lantern within a night. So everything was cleaned up, and this thing was just this thing was standing tall. So that's what I used to clean this thing. Taking off the fuel cap, which is all brass, we can look inside of this fuel tank, which I haven't really ever taken a really good glimpse at. And as you can see, well, maybe, possibly, no. Oh yeah, you can see a little right there. What you can't see is that the fuel tank is somewhat tarnished in there, but the fuel tank is all brass. So this lantern is completely made out of brass. That means finding a brass lamp in good condition is very hard to do, because brass is nowhere near as strong as tin, steel. I'm not sure about nickel-plated lamps, or copper. I'm not sure about copper either. There were some copper lamps. But finding a brass lamp that's in good condition is not easy to do, because it's the simplest thing. If I were to probably drop this lantern, it would probably, like from up to where my highest arm reached to the floor, it would probably do something to it. That's how brittle this stuff is. So it's not something you want to abuse. And this one, fortunately, was not. So I'm pretty grateful for that. And oh wow. But this is the main wave of lanterns I got done. I actually got another brass lantern that we just couldn't pass up, because it's a pretty uncommon one. So that one will be here probably at the end of the week. There is another. Right now, if there's any rare lamps we can afford, we're willing to bid on those, or any lamps that my dad's really wanting to bid on. But right now, we're trying to take our eBay bidding down, but it's pretty hard. It's very addicting, unfortunately. So, but anyway, this is just the Rayo doubleheader, and I hope that this will finally end the big question of what this brass lantern is that I've been holding off for all this time. So. Just wait till the end of the week for the next lantern, and I'm going to show you. 1223 out.